Welcome to Sabs podcast. I'm your host, Sabrina Salvati. All right, guys, so you know how we do this. We start off with a Q&A, and then we get into today's news. So today's Q&A question is, could you talk about Fred Hampton leftists? Absolutely, I would love to. So for those of you who are new to my channel, you may notice that during my show, you'll see text pop up that says Sabby is a Fred Hampton leftist. Subscribe to Fred Hampton Leftist podcast. Fred Hampton Leftist is a network, kind of like how TYT is a network, except we're nothing like TYT politically. But Fred Hampton Leftists, we are a coalition, a rainbow coalition of activists and organizers that do leftist commentary. And we gathered together to carry on Fred Hampton's mission. We want to help create change throughout this country doing mutual aid and activism. So although we do leftist commentary, we don't just sit behind a desk and talk into a microphone. That helps our mission. That helps our goal so that we can spread the message to people. But we are active in our communities, trying to help people who are just disenfranchised by the system. So that's what Fred Hampton Leftist Network is. And if you like what I do here, definitely go over and check out the Fred Hampton Leftist podcast on YouTube as well. We just did a roundtable yesterday. We do those every Thursday. And yesterday we talked about Israel and Palestine, and that was actually a really deep discussion. So definitely check out FHL, you guys. What we're doing over there, you're not going to see that everywhere in leftist space. And the reason why we decided to do this is because of that reason, because we felt like there was a void in leftist commentary. We felt like there was a lack of diversity. There weren't many African Americans. There also aren't many women, if you think about it. If you think about it, most of the women that you see doing this are paired with a guy. So we wanted to change this lane a little bit, and we're doing really well. We launched in April, and it's really picking up steam, guys. So thank you to everyone who supports FHL and supports my channel as well. So if you have not checked out Fred Hampton Leftist, definitely go over there and check that out. So today's news. So President Biden has officially signed Juneteenth into law as a federal holiday. Now, I'm going to tell you my opinions about Juneteenth as an African American, but first, watch this.
Today, we consecrate Juneteenth for what it ought to be, what it must be, a national holiday. As the Vice President noted, a holiday that will join the others of our national celebrations, our independence, our laborers who built this nation, our servicemen and women who served and died in its defense, and the first new national holiday since the creation of Martin Luther King holiday nearly 4 decades ago.
Now, that was part of Biden's speech about Juneteenth as a federal holiday. Now, some people on Twitter had some things to say about this. I'm going to show you that before I get into my commentary about this. Candace Owens, as you could imagine, was not in favor of this, and neither was Charlie Kirk. Here's what they had to say. Of course. So Candace Owens tweeted, "Juneteenth is so lame. Democrats really need to stop trying to repackage segregation. I'll be celebrating July 4th and July 4th only. I'm an American, or I'm American. Okay." But there's something funny about that, and I'm going to show you why. All right, so check this out. Young El Topo says Candace Owens, Ben Shapiro, and Charlie Kirk all praise Trump for proposing Juneteenth as a national holiday. Now they say it's a form of segregation. This is what happens when your worldview is based solely on pandering to your uneducated base. But see, guys, this is what I tell you about the two-party system. If you're for a holiday, a policy, if you're for that and it has the same measures, regardless of party affiliation, then you should be for it, regardless if it's your party that's doing it or if it's the other party that's doing it. These are the contradictions we have to deal with the two-party system. This is one of the reasons why I despise the two-party system, because this is what people do. If you're a Republican and a Republican comes up with the idea, yay, you love it. If you're Democrat and a Democrat comes up with the idea, woohoo, yes. But when the other party comes up with it and you dislike it, it's a contradiction. That doesn't make any sense, but people do it. People do it all the time. Let me show you what Charlie Kirk said. So Charlie Kirk said, Lincoln knew America's founding was July 4th, 1776. He knew that was, sorry, you guys, I'm trying not to laugh. He knew that was the day our amazing nation made a step from ideal to reality. Juneteenth is an affront to the unity of July 4th. Okay. We now have 2 summer holidays and one of them based on race. Shame on the GOP for supporting this. All right, let me pop back out. Hey guys, did you know we're only allowed to have 1 holiday during the summer? Did you guys know that? It's kind of funny to me because Juneteenth is in June and July 4th is in July. They're not even the same month. So Charlie Kirk's statement didn't make any sense. Candace Owens is full of it as usual. You know what's funny? I'm going to tell you guys a little secret about Candace Owens. Here we go. You know, Candace Owens a while back said that racism didn't exist because she wasn't a slave. I know, but yes, she actually said that. But you know what's funny? Here's a little secret. Did you guys know that when Candace Owens was in high school, she actually sued the Connecticut School Board for racial discrimination? Fact. Look it up. A lot of people don't know about that. Most people I tell that to don't know about that. Not only did she sue the Connecticut School Board, but she won and her family was awarded over $30,000. And the NAACP backed her. So when people ask me why I don't take Candace Owens seriously, it's because of stuff like that. How do I feel about Juneteenth being a national holiday? So I made a video about this a couple days ago when the Senate actually passed the bill. And I still feel the same damn way. Okay. Like, for me, is it nice to have Juneteenth as, a national holiday? Yeah, it's nice. But, and I'm saying this from a Black perspective, okay? As an African American, this doesn't mean anything. And I'm going to tell you why. It doesn't mean anything because you're not really doing anything to help Black communities with this holiday. What does this do for Black people? Does it make schools in Black neighborhoods any better? Nope. Does this give Black people health care? Nope. Does this prevent police officers from killing unarmed Black people? Nope. Does this close the racial wealth gap that we have in this country? No. See, people ask me sometimes, they're like, why do you constantly pick on Democrats? Why don't you pick on Republicans too? I constantly pick on Democrats because Democrats are the ones that constantly pretend like they're doing something for Black people and Black communities, and they're not. They'll do something like this, like make Juneteenth a national holiday instead of fixing the schools. They'll name a street after Martin Luther King instead of fixing the disparities that are in that community that that street is in. These are the same people that when you sit down and try to talk to them about reparations, when you talk to them about defunding the police, when you talk to them about how Black and brown communities in this country are struggling, they're the same ones that will point and will say, oh, but remember, Joe Biden did this for Black people. He signed into law making Juneteenth a national holiday. And they'll mean it when they say it, and they'll actually believe that that is enough. And it's not. You can't continue to pander to Black people. And Democrats have done this for decades. The only time they really care about us is when they need our vote. And even then, they don't really care about us per se. They just care about our vote. Every time. And it's not just people like Joe Biden. It's people like Jim Clyburn. It's people like all of the senators and the House reps that you saw in that video singing Lift Every Voice and Sang. I'm not even going to play it on here because I can't get through it without laughing. It's those people too. It's the Congressional Black Caucus, which, by the way, people tend to think that if something has the word Black or African American in the title, that they're actually doing something good. They're actually doing something to significantly help Black people and Black communities. Oftentimes they're not. Case in point, the Congressional Black Caucus pushed Joe Biden's crime bills, which disproportionately affected Black and brown communities, more so Black communities. That's the Congressional Black Caucus. The Congressional Black Caucus endorsed Elliot Engel over Jamal Bowman. They're just as corporate and corrupt and elite as the rest of the Democratic Party. Their establishment. They're not really trying to help people. They're one of those organizations where they have Black in the name and that's it. So when I think about Juneteenth as a national holiday, meh. What's the meaning behind it, man? Do we get Juneteenth as a national holiday if George Floyd wasn't murdered last summer? They weren't trying to push it before. Why does someone have to die on camera, a slow death on camera, for them to say, hey, we should probably make Juneteenth a holiday? Guys, it's 2021. And I'll say the same thing I said in the other Juneteenth video. They don't even want to federally decriminalize marijuana. Think about all the Black people that are in prison doing 20 years for marijuana because of Joe Biden's crime bills. So no, you don't get a pass, Joe. This doesn't do it for me. This doesn't do it for Black people. This is not enough. You want to help? Why don't you do something to reverse the effects of your crime bills? Why don't you decriminalize marijuana federally in this country? Why don't you actually sit down with Black leaders and figure out how to do reparations in this country to close the racial wealth gap? Why don't you keep your promise that you made about forgiving student loan debt for students that went to HBCUs? Why don't you do that, Joe? Why don't you push for the increase of the minimum wage to $15? It actually should be more than that, but why don't you do that? No, you can't. because you always got to put us on the table. You want Black votes, but you don't want to help Black issues. And that's how the Democrats operate. And that's what they've been doing. And that's what they will continue to do. Guys, I know this like the back of my hand. I'm a Black woman living in America. I'm a Black woman that voted for Barack Obama in 2008. I'm a Black woman that really believed that Barack Obama really meant the things that he ran on. Like he was really going to create change for people in this country. And I'm also a Black woman that was disappointed when I realized that he was just like all the rest of them. So when people ask me what pushed me away from relying on Dems, it was Obama. And I and my counterparts, a lot of us were radicalized after that. And then when Bernie came along, I said, here's somebody who's running for president that is saying everything that I have been feeling for years. I want this guy to win. And I sat here like you, and I watched the DNC do everything they could in their power to prevent this man from winning. Everything, whether it was the media, whether it was the smears, whether it was, let's not let the person with the most delegates win after all. They try to change the rules. I watched them do everything. And the policies that Bernie had on his platform would have greatly helped Black people in this country. So when people ask me, why do you come after the Dems? Because I am so sick and tired of them pandering to Black people, pretending like they're going to do something for us, pretending like they really care, pretending like they really give a crap about us when they don't. I don't go by what they say. I go by what they do. So this Juneteenth national holiday, what is really upsetting to me is that you have people all across this country, liberals all across this country, thinking that this is a big win. This is not a win. Black people have still lost. What did we get? What did we get?